Now on BBC Two, we join William Woolard with up-to-the-minute news on day 2 of the RAC Rally.
Coming into 5th gear, doing about 85, 90 miles an hour, sliding a bit. Knock the speed off.
Welcome to Rally Report 85. It looks tonight as if this could turn out to be one of those surprising Lombard RAC rallies for a very long time. All hell has broken out in this event since we were with you last, and the leaderboard here in the control room in Nottingham has scarcely been the same for 2 stages in succession. The big news tonight is that Marco Allen in the Lancia has had onto his lead from the start, but right behind him and going like a train is Tony Pond in the Metro. Now, we left you last night with the cars plunging into the Forest of Dean. Since then, they've driven through the night and through the Welsh forests. They've now turned east and they're back here in Nottingham. Just 20 stages, but many of them icy and very rough indeed, and they've taken a very heavy toll. 54 cars no longer in the game, and 4 of the top seeds are out. Hannu Mikulu is out, and Walter Röhrl in their Audis. Indeed, it's said that Walter Röhrl's car could be had for a very low price indeed. And Timo Salonen and Grundle are out in the Peugeots, hotly tipped, of course, to win this event. And sadly, Marco Mussen is out in the Metro with a broken prop shaft. So this rally really is now absolutely wide open. But let's pick up the action as dawn breaks over the Welsh forests at Trwscoed.
Headlights blazing, Marco Allen in the Lancia led for most of the night until stage 15 at Riola, when he dropped to 2nd place. The new leader of the Lombard RAC Rally, Hannu Mikulu, at Trwscoed, but he's not happy with his engine at all. World champion Timo Salonen in the Peugeot made progress up to 2nd place, but a puncture and a spin drop him back to 5th. Juha Kankkunen in the Toyota Celica struggles to stay in the first 10, but his teammate Valdegaard rolled out of the rally on the Lady Megan stage. The 2nd Lancia spun at the same point, but Henri Toivonen survives despite a loss of engine power. Tony Pond has progressed from 10th to 6th, despite lighting problems and severe understeer. He was fastest on the Mailscut stage in the 6R4. Jimmy McRae in the Opel Manta 400 has survived the ditches and earlier brake problems to be 10th overall at Trwscoed. In a real tussle with Jimmy McRae was Russell Brooks in his Manta until he spun out at Riola and lost 15.5 minutes. The Mazda RX-7 of New Zealander Rod Millen was up to 13th place before 2 punctures. Oh, what a night for Malcolm Wilson in the MG Metro 6R4. Light problems, a flying bonnet, 2 differential changes, and he's still lying 8th overall. Michael Sundström in the Peugeot 205 has consistently performed well. A few brake problems, but still, he's 7th. Kalle Grundell, fastest in at least 3 stages, the Swedish driver ripped his spotlights off in a spin. He's lying 3rd. Fast downhill into a slow right-hander at Dovey. Number 10, MG Metro 6R4 and Tony Pond have received tremendous support from the many tens of thousands of spectators and rally enthusiasts. Sixth when we last saw Tony and Rob Arthur. But now he's up to 3rd overall on the 1985 Lombard RAC Rally. Number 3, Marco Allen, 4th fastest at Llanafon and 2nd at Meherin. He's now roaring along, fastest on both the Havren and Dovey stages. Juha Kankkunen in the rear-wheel drive Toyota Celica benefits from the failure of others, but is running strongly in 8th overall, the leading non-4-wheel drive car. Hannu Mikulu was leading the rally at Trwscoed, but that lead is shrinking from 51 to 43 to 21 seconds at Havren. Disaster strikes here at Dovey. Certainly the engine is sick. His first retirement in the Lombard RAC since 1979. What a canny drive from Per Eklund in the sole surviving Audi Quattro. 12th at stage 2, now 7th overall. Number 15, Michael Sundstrom in the British-entered Peugeot. 4th overall, despite less power than the works cars. Poor brakes afflicted Jimmy McRae earlier, but the AC Delco Opel Manta has kept out of serious trouble, and the Scottish Circuit of Ireland winner is currently 9th. Since Troscoid, Henry Toivonen has dropped to 5th with fuel problems. Then he roared back to 2nd, and throughout the rally he has stayed in the top 6. The rotary-engined Mazda, driven by Ingvar Carlsson, who was feeling unwell at the early stages of the rally, is now up to 9th. And incidentally, the other Mazda of Rod Millen is just behind in 11th place. Russell Brooks is on one of his famous charges. From 20th, he's up to 16th and climbing. Timo Salonen, the 1985 world champion, will not win the Lombard RAC Rally. He coasts to a standstill with oil pressure problems. By some standards, Terry Gamey has had few problems. A puncture has not stopped him from moving up to 10th overall. Malcolm Wilson is up to 6th, despite very sore hands from the failure of the power steering. Quite a problem with 410 brake horsepower to control. Leading the Coupe des Dames is Cumbrian lady Louise Aitken-Walker with co-driver Ellen Morgan. '42, Phil Collins. He may not be far from hometown Pontrilas, but that's no consolation for this puncture. But he continues on the rim. Rear axle problems have not kept him out of 13th place.
Well said, as I said, Malcolm Wilson went out at the next stage with a broken prop shaft, the second time in 2 years for mechanical failure. Now, we raised last night the question of safety in this event, both for the crews and spectators, now that these cars pack so much power and travel so fast. As Hannu Mikkola put it the other day, the straights get shorter and shorter every year. Now, we had a very graphic description of that problem in the next stage, stage 24.
Stay stopped and be cancelled, okay? There's no more cars until everybody's back. Simple as that.
Well, they believe there were 20,000 spectators in the forest at that stage, and after 9 cars had gone through, the stage marshal actually stopped the stage and credited all the remaining runners with the slowest time, which is what the rules provide. It does seem extraordinary that these spectators, who really love this sport very dearly, indeed love it so much, they traipse out to these remote forest stages in all weathers at all times of the day and night, and yet seem to have so little comprehension of the real danger as these cars hurtle down these narrow forest tracks and seem to have no sense to listen to what the marshal says. Now, let's pick up the action again as the cars turn east for the last of these 30 hours of driving towards
After
Nottingham.
25 stages of the Lombard RAC Rally, Marco Allen is still leading, and leading by 3 minutes in the Lancia Delta S4. When we last saw Juha Kankkunen in the Toyota Celica, he was lying 7th. Now he's up to 6th, despite a slipping clutch and a broken rear differential. Per Eklund, number 8 in the privately entered Quattro. And he is now up into 5th place after 25 stages. Henry Toivonen is not a happy man. In the second of the Lancias, he's been low on petrol and had to coast through to the finish, and now is suffering from fuel starvation. Tony Pond, on the other hand, is in tremendous form, and everyone is getting very excited about the progress of the 6R4. Jimmy McRae is making excellent progress in his Opel Manta, up to 7th overall now. Russell Brooks, 20th, 16th, and now here he is up to 12th place overall, continuing that charge.
Jimmy, you're lying 7th, but I gather you've had a few late problems this afternoon.
Yes, the fourth last stage we had an oil seal go in the sump, which was spraying oil onto the clutch, so we had a slip and clutch for the last, for 2 of these stages. Then they changed it before Donington tonight, but the car's back to square one again. Everything's okay for tomorrow.
Did that cost you much time, though, those problems?
It probably cost us maybe about a minute or a minute and a half, something like that. We just took it easy over to the long stages just to make sure that the thing would get to the end.
How tough are you finding it with the 2-wheel drive, keeping up the pace against the 4-wheel drive cars?
We're just not keeping up the pace, that's the problem. No, there's just, the conditions have been so bad, so muddy and wet and slippy, that we're just no way we can keep up with 4-wheel drive. So really all I'm out for is to be the best of the rest.
We hope so too, but there are a few spectator problems as well today, I hear.
Yes, I mean there are thousands of spectators around, you know, there's some of them standing awful stupid places.
Marco, you seem to be having a textbook rally so far, leading solidly. Have you had any problems today?
No, today is no problem. Only have yesterday evening a little bit misfiring, but you know that's nobody still finding that problem. But okay, like in general, it's no problem.
We heard there was a little bit of trouble with the gearbox.
Yes, I changed now in gearbox in Donington before last stage.
So you serviced just before coming here?
Yeah, everything going well.
We heard that one of the stages was cancelled because of spectator problems. How bad has that been?
Well, one stage I have in maybe 4 stages before in Donington in helicopter follow for me, and that's dangerous, you know. And nobody understand I coming, and helicopter making too much noise, and nobody sees I coming.
Tony, you've been carving your way up through the field dramatically today. What sort of a day have you had?
We've had a trouble-free day, which is the main thing. That's what this rally is all about, really. Just go along without trouble.
No problems at all with the car? We heard there were 1 or 2 things that you were checking on.
Well, we've done routine maintenance. The car hasn't let us down or cost us a second, really. I mean, it's been very, very good.
You look pretty shivery. How are you feeling health-wise?
Well, I've still got the flu, so it's still with me. Makes me shiver.
It seems to have turned into a rally of accidents. How tough has the going been out on those stages?
Well, I mean, that's typical of this event, really. I mean, it happens every year. I'm normally the one who gets blamed for it, but I mean, it happens to everybody.
I hear you'd had a few handling problems at some point. Have you cured those?
Yeah, we've gradually been working around the car, and we're getting it better. We did go through a sort of a dodgy spell, but nothing serious, really. Other people had a lot more trouble.
So after 2 days of real drama, this is how the leaderboard looks. The Lancia and the Metro in the lead, closely followed by Henry Toivonen, the second Lancia, breathing down Tony Pond's neck. Michael Sundstrom, the young Finn, in the only remaining Peugeot, Talbot Peugeot, the Coventry-built car, Per Eklund in the privately entered Audi. 5 drivers in 4 mix of cars, separated by about 13 minutes. Now, the cars behind the staggering are all 2-wheel drive cars. There's 1 Toyota there, 1 Opel, 2 Mazdas and a Nissan. So who got it sadly wrong yesterday when he said that the 2-wheel drive cars this year would really have a very thin time? I'm afraid I did, and obviously not for the first time. Although they're separated by a fair gap, up in fact to about half an hour, these first 3 cars are, of course, all unproven, so anybody could win the rally, I think, over the next 3 days. Now, let's leave your programme tonight with a word of praise for the little-mentioned co-drivers, because they've had a pretty rough day today. Walter Royal's co-driver, in fact, had his door torn off when the crash occurred. Another co-driver was heard in one of the rest halts speaking about his driver, and he said that he keeps leaving the road and always somehow on my side. So spare a thought for them in your prayers. That's really all for tonight. See you again tomorrow, no doubt bog-eyed at 11:50. Good night.